Hello everyone, this is Flemmy. Welcome back. We're here with another subscriber base review. This week we are going to be focusing on Town Hall 7. So, subscriber base review, what is that? Well, if you're unfamiliar with the term, this is where I take a video and review your guys' bases. Each week I review a different Town Hall level, so you guys can get tips on whatever Town Hall level you're looking for. So this means if you are, say, at Town Hall 7, you can watch this video and get some tips, as well as you can watch any previous Town Hall 7 videos and get some tips as well. Now, if you aren't at Town Hall 7, this video still might be useful for you because it can have general tips as well. I'll do all sorts of stuff. I'll talk about army camps, I'll talk about army compositions, I'll talk about defensive distributions, and just sort of general layout stuff. I'll talk about a whole sort of random collection of stuff. So you know what? Stay tuned and hope you guys enjoy. Here we are with Taric, Town Hall 7, our first one for this video. So Town Hall 7 right here. Got some interesting walls out here. I sort of like the artwork they sort of do. I assume those are just extra walls that are left over. So with 7 walls, let's see, actually, could you do anything interesting with those? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that'd be 1 short. That's not bad, though. Maybe. What I'm trying to do is trying to see if you could, like, save a wall by putting these somewhere else. It includes an extra building, but not in that corner. What you could do is use them for funneling. So, for example, if you put 2 walls right here, that would funnel units out, and then you could put a bomb right here, and that would be particularly effective. Same thing over here, like 2 walls or 1 wall, then put a bomb, and that will funnel guys on top of the trap. So, I mean, I just do sort of like the collection you have going on out here. Let's see, you got a Tesla being built. And let's talk about your defensive levels, because this is generally, defensive levels are pretty much the #1 most important thing. So the most important of them is going to be wizards and mortars. So wizards, 4 and 4, so that's really good. Mortars, 5, 5, and 5, so that's really good as well. You get your Barbarian King as a Town Hall 7, so that's a good job raiding that Dark Elixir. Did you just build this? Yeah, it looks like you did. With just 400 left, I assume you just raided this. You're up at nearly 1,400 trophies, so that's a pretty good spot if you're looking to raid Dark Elixir. So maybe that's what you're doing up there so high. Building some spells. If you are building Triple Lightning, that is a good use of spells to try to steal Dark Elixir. Although, generally, just getting your Barbarian King to level 1 is probably the most important for Town Hall 7. Getting it up to additional levels is it's fine and it's good, but generally is not worth the effort as much as getting to level 1. Getting to level 1 is very important because it has good stats. As you can see, you go from basically having 0 of these stats to 150 right away. Upgrade it another one, and this will go to like maybe 155, and the other ones will similarly increase slightly. But for the amount of Dark Elixir it costs, it's rather it's rather hard and not that great. I do notice you have wizards in your army. This is interesting. Let's load this up. Your army's only half full right now, but you have some wizards in here, which is interesting. Wizards, I mean, I'm not really a fan of them, especially in the past. I've really not been a fan of them as much. Since they added their splash, they've certainly gone a bit better, especially on defense, but as well as on offense. The thing about them is they're just so slow to train. Let's go find your barracks. Are you training anything in your barracks right now? 1 barracks, 2 barracks, 3 barracks, and 4. So these 2 barracks on the right are both training something. So maybe you've got some wizards training in here, but not in those ones. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell. The thing about wizards, though, they take 10 minutes to train, and they cost 4 supply. The supply isn't actually as big of a deal as you might think. Yes, it's expensive, but their damage certainly makes up for it. Their cost is also expensive, but you know what? Their damage also makes up for it. The thing that really kills me when I try to use wizards is you just have such a slow train time that it's really, really painful. So that's interesting that you have a couple wizards. I'd be curious if you're adding more. Maybe having just 2 that could help you deal with clan castle guys. That would be very interesting. I've never really thought about doing that before, because their splash damage, of course, helps them deal with clan castles and guys that are grouped up. So archers, barbarians, whatnot, that's coming at you. Drop some wizards and take them out in a couple blasts. Beyond that, your base is very well maxed out. So you've got your archer tower up to level 8. These other ones are 7. Cannons 8, and then 8 and 7. Nope, that's 8 as well. So, all these are 8. Oh, all the cannons are 8. So you've got a couple archer towers left, and then you're maxed. So you have a really good base going right here. In terms of these air defenses, I wouldn't bother putting them both above 4, and in fact, 3 is probably pretty darn good. You pretty much never get attacked by air, I'd expect. I should mention that he did say in his message, he said just give an overall review, so that's what I'm trying to do here. Your walls, of course, are doing a great job here. And in fact, I would say it's about time for you to increase your town hall level. You probably already know that, but with 700,000 in each of these storages, you've got 1.4 million gold, and I'm not sure how many projects to spend it on. Definitely good to not upgrade both of these at once. You could probably upgrade 2 archer towers at once, especially because everything else is so maxed out. But you know what? I'm really liking this base. A couple suggestions though. So, two things that I think would be really simple is move all these buildings closer to your walls. So take out this little gap in here, and then down here, remove all these decorations and do the same thing. Move these mines, especially mines and collectors, closer to the walls. Now, why does this matter? You might be wondering. Well, my advice to everyone is to keep your buildings as close to your walls as possible. This means that any units that attack, they can't pick off these buildings for free. For example, if you signed off right now and you don't have a shield and someone comes by in 5 hours and says, oh, I just want to raid your gold mines, they could raid these with archers, actually. It might be you might not be able to get this one just given this radius, but you should be able to get these two for free as well as these two for free, and probably not this one once again. Basically, you don't want to let them get any free damage out whatsoever. You want to make sure they're doing as much damage as possible, and that's not really much about the archers covering as well as you want the mortars to be covering. So if goblins come in here, barbarians come in here, you want them to be being splashed up by this mortar. You don't want the mortar just to be sitting idle, or worse, just sitting idle, and then, say, giants come in and distract the mortar later when the squishy units that you want to target, such as archers and goblins, are done and moving on because they were never within range. So yes, my suggestion is keep everything as close to the walls as possible. Beyond that, looks like your base is doing pretty good. Between everything being maxed out, that probably makes the single biggest difference. Let's check for clan castle guys. Nice selection of clan castle guys. Some unusual composition. Goblins I generally wouldn't recommend, but archers and barbarians are fine. Generally archers are the best. A couple level 5s, 2 of them. Indicates probably a couple of them are left over. I would say this would be a good opportunity to upgrade your clan castle's positioning. I would say at least swap it out for this air defense right here. The air defense is doing nothing while it's upgrading, so might as well put the clan castle in the middle. That's another good suggestion. Clan castle just so good on defense. Just put it in the middle if possible. Beyond that, your base looks very good. I am very impressed with this. I'm not sure all of these Town Hall 7 bases will be as good. You are nearly level 60 as a Town Hall 7, so you are clearly ready to upgrade to Town Hall 8. Good job, and let's move on to our next base. Alright guys, welcome back. We have John XDDDDDDD here for our next one. He is in Reddit Oak, one of the Reddit clans, and he does have a message here. He says, level 4 barracks next to the Tesla will be a Barbarian King. Okay, let's find that. Well, I can't see the Tesla. I'm not in your clan, but I assume you mean this one. Yeah, that makes sense. That's going to be Barbarian King once you get it. So let's see how much Dark Elixir you have. It doesn't look like that much. Okay, not bad. 40% of the way there. Not bad. I see why you're defending it heavily, though. Beyond that, you have a couple more notes. Builder will be a Tesla. Which builder would that be? That'd be this one. Okay, so I assume there's a Tesla there, given your previous note. Okay, Tesla. And never raided by air. Can always use clan castle troops. Alright, so that's interesting. I would expect you don't get raided by air often, given that these 2 air defenses, while they're both level 1, you're very well protecting them here in the center. So, yeah, I would expect that this would scare away most air attacks. And, yeah, let's talk about your defensive levels. As I said before, those are the most important. Level 4 on both these wizards is very nice. Level 5 on, is it all? Yes, on all these mortars is very nice as well. So, you have the 5 most critical defensive buildings, 2 wizards and 3 mortars for this town hall level. You have a max, so that's great. Glad to see that both of our bases so far have done that. Now, let's see about your layout. So, your mortars are down the middle, and then your wizard towers are spread out to the sides a bit more. However, your wizard tower is still covered with storages, so nice to see that. Your mortars still cover pretty much everything, so nice to see that as well. Normally, it's slightly more common to sort of group everything together in the middle, but this is just fine as is. I do like the fact that you have your Dark Elixir storage in the center, shows what you are protecting the most currently. If you ever decided you wanted to put another building slightly more centralized, I would say kick this guy out. It's only level 6 with only 50,000 in it, which means if someone takes it out, they can only steal 12,500 elixir, which, while 12,500 is some, it's really not that much. And you'll often find that people are actually like getting more from your mines and collectors if you aren't online when you first first go off shield. So you'll find that having this only a level 6 in here is not super important. So you might consider like upgrading this cannon a little bit more or something else like that. Now, I do like that you are planning for the future with having your Barbarian King be here and your Tesla be here. It does mean your other Tesla is here. Let's see, Clan Castle. Actually, you know what? This would be a good one. So yeah, you don't have clan castle guys, and you didn't have a note about how you can always use clan castle troops. Definitely fill that up. I'm sure your clan mates would be happy to donate, and I'd suggest putting your clan castle right here. That's pretty centralized, and you want to have your clan castle guys as centralized as possible. Now, you don't have anything in the corners, so it is harder for them to draw out the clan castle troops. However, they could do so currently by, say, putting one archer right here. That would be out of range of this guy, and this guy's under construction, so he'll clearly be out of range of that. Tesla does not have the range either. And that would be within the radius of this guy. Would draw out any clan castle guys you did have, and they could then be slaughtered out here with either a lightning spell or just sort of mass barbarian just surrounding them. But, yeah, I'd just say it's a good upgrade. Just put it right here. Beyond that, you do have lower level mines and collectors than our previous one by a little bit, not a ton. I'd say these level 6 and 5 elixir collectors and level 5, 7, what are these, 7s? 7, 7, 8, was going up to 9. Interesting. So I would say these ones are pretty good. You generally, I would always say, upgrade these last of all, and just upgrade these archer towers if you have the gold to do so. And yeah, these cannons as well. If you have the gold, definitely prioritize them over gold mines. So, but if you don't, that's fine. Perhaps you've been doing this for a little while, but it looks like currently you've got a lot of gold. Um, Something interesting about the gold mines is I would not recommend upgrading this guy to level 9. Assuming that this has been underway for several hours now, like, don't worry about it. But in the future, this is a good tip to everyone. Don't upgrade anything to level, any mines or collectors to a higher level before the lower level ones are also upgraded. Basically, that means is this one's going from 8 to 9, this one's 8, this one's 8, this one's 7, this one's 7, this one's 7. Don't put anything to 9 until everything is 8. Don't put anything to 10 until everything is 9. Don't put anything to 11 until everything is 10. Basically, with the gold mines and the elixir collectors, it is most efficient to upgrade them from the lowest level to the highest level. And this is because you're increasing the rate, and in fact, the amount that this level 8 increases, it increases by 300. If you increase this level 7, it also increases by 300. Basically, the level 7 one is both cheaper and shorter, the most important being shorter, so it's better to prioritize that other one. Alright, I think that's going to be it for this base. I covered a lot of stuff. Last thing I will say that's interesting for, in general, not really towards you, John, is that I mentioned it briefly at the beginning, was your 2 air defenses. They're level 1, which seems to be very low and perhaps a big threat. However, in fact, this isn't really a huge problem. These air defenses are only really critical if you're expecting lots of dragon attacks, or really any dragon attacks, and you probably shouldn't be when you're below 1500 or so trophies. It's possible, it's just not likely, and you want to set up your base against a little likeliness. I mean, it's possible for a base at 800 trophies to be attacked by mass P.E.K.K.A., but it's not likely. So generally, I wouldn't bother with that. So I will say in general, if your air defenses are really low level, you can compensate for it by protecting them and centralizing them well, such as happens in this base. Alright guys, moving on to the next one. Let's go see another Town Hall 7. Alright guys, here we are with Tenzin, and here's a name I actually do know how to pronounce, because I do hope this is a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender, an awesome show, which, if you guys are not aware, is really, 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 really good. I think Netflix has it, actually, if you guys have Netflix. So yeah, love that show. So Tenzin is a character in there, so I do know how to pronounce it. So, let's see. Town Hall 7, that is good, considering we are doing Town Hall 7s here today. Beyond that, I notice a healer over here right away in this army camp, so let's check this. Interesting. Giants. So I think you're probably building giants right now, because healer doesn't work great with either barbarians, archers, goblins, or wall breakers in those numbers, and your healer, you're going to want to use it on giants. They really work the best together. There's some possibilities of healer wizard, but generally healer giant's just the way to go. I've already talked about some issues with wizards, so that's interesting. I do like to see that. Healer Giant is probably my favorite sort of mid-Town Hall level strategy. I've used it for, it feels like years and years, but it's really just months and months when I was Town Hall 6 and 7 and 8. Unfortunately, with the addition of the new air defense for Town Hall 8s, it makes it a bit harder to use, so I've switched off and been trying some other stuff lately. Some more sort of farming with more goblins and stuff, but still a fairly balanced army. But no healers, the sad part. So yes, I do love to see healers, because healers are awesome. Level 0 though, or I guess level 1, so I would definitely recommend upgrading that when you get a chance, because upgrading actually really helps its stats. Mostly in the terms of the heals per second category. Alright, let's look at this though. So, interesting base. It is not sort of the normal standard base. Gotta talk about efficiency. Every time I see a base like this, just gotta talk about efficiency. So, you see this horizontal wall down here. It is horizontal because it goes across the screen, whereas the rest of the buildings in Clash of Clans are sort of oriented on this axis and this axis. When you have a horizontal line like this, especially made out of walls. Everything it makes me think of is, oh, this is inefficient. So if you actually took every single one of these walls in here and made them into a straight line, you would go right down here and then come right up here and connect to there. So basically this wall would come down to here and then it'd go up to here. That right there is how big of an area this section of walls could create. That means you could put your town hall inside, you could put other defenses inside, you could centralize these cannons more, you could put a couple gold mines and collectors if you wanted inside. Basically, this is really inefficient with the walls because you could fit a lot more stuff in there. Now, you probably have like Teslas or something that are in there, but overall, you just really are going to want to not use horizontal walls like that in general. I can think of pretty much zero situations where you ever would want to do so. I was going to say in general, but like, yeah, I really can't think of any good reason to do so. Just inefficient, and you just basically are giving up space inside your walls that could have buildings in them, but can't because your walls are being lame and just going in a straight line. Versus if they're making rectangles, sort of like the top part of your base, that's much more efficient. Alright, moving on to the other stuff though. Let's talk about this. Okay, wizard and wizard. Wow, everyone has had level 4 wizards. I'm really impressed with you guys. This is awesome. I think it's actually the first time people have had maxed out wizards. Wizards are normally really late to be upgraded because they're just so darn expensive. Now, these mortars, though, are not maxed. That's fine, though. I see you're working on one of them. I wouldn't recommend upgrading more than one at a time, just because, yeah, if you upgrade more than one, people who are attacking might notice, and notice you're weak in that category, so I do definitely recommend that. Alright, so other stuff, though. Level 4 air defense is interesting, and level 3 going to level 4. I would definitely not recommend upgrading beyond that. Level 4 is fine, like, even through Town Hall 8, really. It does show a nice counterpoint to our other base, where we had level 1s that are very centralized. Well, in this case, you have level 4 that's not as centralized and rather more exposed, but is higher level, so that's alright. In this one, you got 160 damage, which is nearly double the level 1 air defense, which should have 90 damage per second. Beyond that, you are very active, clearly. You're building guys with your barracks. You have a spell factory over here. I'm curious, can I actually... I think I can look at this and see if this updated. Yes, look at this. You can't see them graphically, but you're now up to 10 giants, so just as I predicted, healer giant is the way to go. So, if I actually look here, there's only one giant here on the left. I don't think I see any other. Oh, there's one down here too. So there's 2 giants, but clearly more have finished since I spectated this space, loaded it up, which is represented only in this count. So, like to see that. That's great. And that's awesome. Beyond that, let's see. Storages are centralized. One thing I will say is you're very weak to lightning spells. With a Dark Elixir storage right here in the center, this creates a plus right here if you see this, all these storages, which is prime targets for lightning spells. Any amount of lightning spells just dropped in this Dark Elixir storage would hit all of your storages, collecting some resources. Might not be profitable when there's not a ton in here, but it would be fairly break-even-ish, and it would steal Dark Elixir, which you don't want to let them do. So yes, generally I would say do not put your storages in a plus. I would probably swap out, like, wizard towers with certain ones, maybe put a wizard tower in the middle, maybe put Clan Castle in the middle, and de-emphasize this Dark Elixir. This Dark Elixir only has 1,300 in it, so I would probably recommend kicking this out of the center. It just doesn't have enough Dark Elixir in here for you to really worry about protecting that much. Yes, you are Town Hall 7, and Dark Elixir is really hard to steal, especially when you're down at 1,200 trophies, but 1,300 it just isn't enough that people can steal very much of it to really make it worth their time. So I'd probably say swap the Clan Castle and the Dark Elixir storage. Now, I did check out your clan castle earlier, but I didn't show it on screen, so you do have a couple of minions in here. Generally, I would say don't go with the minions, or sort of high supply. Just go with archers and maybe a couple of barbarians if you're feeling like it. Of course, you could throw in, say, a dragon or a couple wizards or something like that, because they do splash damage, and that's helpful, but absolutely not necessary. Beyond that, the last thing I will talk about is the fact that I really do like your wall upgrading strategy. So while your walls are level 5 all around, that's good. You don't have a ton of level 6s, but the ones you do have, you put in very critical locations. So all the corners are level 6s, and this is great because this will slow down units from attacking the critical ones. So if a unit takes out this wall right here, it gives them access to all 4 of these compartments. So presumably they'd be in one of these ones when they're attacking it, but by attacking this wall, it's harder for them to get into these two, versus if they attack this wall, they'd probably break through sooner, but they wouldn't break into both compartments, only one of them. So I definitely like that upgrade strategy. Definitely keep that up. And I would recommend for all Town Hall 7s, getting all your walls to level 6 before getting anything to level 7. I guess it goes for Town Hall 8, really. Get everything to level 7. Or get all your walls to level 6. There we go. Why is that? That's because wall breakers level 5 take 2 hits to get through level 6 walls, which means it's really, really helpful to have everything at level 6. And when you're Town Hall 8, it's much better to have them at 6 than a couple at 6, couple at 5, couple at 7, because they'll still be able to one-shot through these, two-shot through these 6s, and two-shot through the 7s, which obviously don't exist yet. So basically, the level 7 walls, for considering they're so much more expensive, don't really have any benefit whatsoever. So yes, that's going to be that for this. I hope you guys are ready for the next Town Hall 7, because we're going on to the 4th and final Town Hall 7 base for this subscriber-based review video. Let's go. Alright guys, here we are with a level 60 Town Hall 7, and his name is Salcazaz. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure exactly. Alright, so interesting. Immediately what grabbed my attention was this. I don't really know what to say. It's sort of unusual. Maybe there's some Teslas in there in these gaps? I don't know. Sort of unusual. Yeah, I would say generally, just right off the bat, that's a bad use of your walls. Yeah. So it's actually interesting because it is one of the few outside the wall town hall bases we have had in this video, and I would say that's bad. It's a bad use of it because you have so many walls dedicated to it. But let's talk about some other stuff. So you do ask in your comment if it's the right time for you to upgrade your Town Hall level, and because you are upgrading to Town Hall 8, let's look at all your other stuff. So, level 4, and I can see all your mortars are level 5, so that's good as well. You have a Barbarian King level 1, that's great. You have a Clan Castle level 3. You have, level 5 air defenses, so very well upgraded on those ones. And, let's see, is everything else max? 8, 8... It's just easiest to see by selecting. Yeah, wow, so you've maxed out all of your cannons and archer towers as well, so that's very impressive. Oh, and there's a Tesla right there, so you can't have more than another Tesla over there. Maybe you've got one. Alright, so what's my thoughts on this base? Biggest problem, right off the bat, is Town Hall outside the walls having walls. Giving away your Town Hall is fine. I don't have any problem with that. I do have problems with dedicating either defenses or walls to do so. These walls, say, what could you do with them? What would be more efficient? What if you took these walls and, like, put a gap right here, a set of walls between those two storages? It would expand these outwards a little bit, but it would turn these 4 buildings into 2 compartments of 2 each. Then you could do the same over here, same right here, same right here. So to get the point of what I'm saying is, like, those would all be much better uses for these walls, and would slow down people who are attacking. Now, you do have a very nice selection of walls here, with lots of level 6s, well, everything level 6, and then some level 7s. You do have a healer giant army as well. Oops, not that. Let's hit the army camp. So, 16 giants. You do have a maxed out army, so I can see what your actual composition is. 16, that's on the higher end. I generally would go, as a Town Hall 8, I went from like 15 to 18. As a Town Hall 7, I would generally try to do around 14. You are at a higher trophy count, so that just makes sense. You want to use more giants. You'll be facing up against Town Hall 8s mostly, and some Town Hall 9s even. So you're going to want to have more giants to get through their higher level and more defenses. I do like the fact that you have archers, barbarians, goblins, minions. and wall breakers. All those are standard things in my own armies. Those are great, and they generally all worked well together, as I'm sure you've seen in my own videos. Perhaps I inspired you. If so, I'm glad to say that I have. Always happy to see that. Not because I think it's like the best strategy or the only strategy that works. It works well, and I think it's very flexible, and that's a great thing to be able to do. Is take on many sorts of bases. So yes, my suggestions though definitely would be get rid of these walls, put them somewhere more effective, keep up the army composition. Um, Interesting. I'll talk about traps here for a second, and I've talked about Teslas. One Tesla here is great. Another Tesla being in here, not good. Just sort of throwing it away. Any giant bombs or spring traps in here, bad. They're just throwing them away. Where could you put bombs, spring traps, giant bombs, etc.? Um, Air bombs, yeah, that sort of stuff. Well, right in the gaps between your outer buildings is a great spot to put them. So I noticed a couple ones. So right here, this is a great spot for two single bombs. Any giants, goblins, barbarians, and even a couple archers that are walking between these buildings here will step on the bombs, and the way they're positioned between here, and especially with this little single bump of a wall, they will detonate and take lots of damage, and hopefully lots of splash damage if there's lots of buildings nearby. So that's a great spot to have bombs. Other great spots, right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. Those two, this third, those three spots, let me tap them in. 1, 2, 3. Those are okay, but not as good for bombs. They won't get goblins because the army camps, of course, goblins are not going after, and the army camps are larger, so the units will be towards the center, so it won't get barbarians as well either. Spring traps, though, that's a more valid spot, so those are better for spring traps rather than bombs. Now, air bombs, they're sort of wherever you think they're going to attack with air from. I would say you don't really need to worry about them, however, because with a level 5 air defense, this centralized, I think anyone with a dragon, with balloons, with anything like that is going to be running scared. They do not want to take on your base. This is a very well defended air defense base. And let's check for your clan castle. And yeah, wizards, those would chew through balloons or really any infantry really, really, really quickly. So good job on all of that. Now, clan castle wise, I would consider putting this right in the smack dab center where this air defense is. I wouldn't just swap them because you don't want two air defenses right next to one another. I would probably put the one air defense over here on this side or even out here. With two level 5s, you could probably get away with putting them right here and here just fine without any problem because just level 5s are scary, especially at Town Hall 7. You should not really worry about them being that centralized. Just the fact that they're level 5 is enough as a deterrent. Beyond that, yeah, this is a really good base overall. I think that with just dealing with these walls out here, your base could be really, 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 really well improved. And I like all the things you do in here. And yeah, good job overall. Alright guys, now's the time where I'm going to wrap it up and tell you guys how you can apply to be in your own subscriber base review video. So my subscriber base review videos happen every weekend and I focus on a different town hall level for each one of them. So if you are a town hall 5, don't bother applying for a town hall 6 or town hall 7, etc. Base. And I will be announcing these on my Facebook page, my Twitter page. So you can go and follow and like those pages, and I will let you know on there when they happen. So I do them every weekend, and I typically ask for submissions around Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Today I asked for them on Sunday, and yes. So the only other thing is I am not able to review everyone who applies. There's about 45,000 plus of you guys, and about one of me, which means I wish I could answer all of your guys' requests to review your bases, but it just simply couldn't happen, even if I spent every single hour of every single day filling out applications and answering them, even just in text form. So I do apologize for that. I wish I could do more. That said, guys, I really do hope you apply, and if you get picked, congratulations. If you did not get picked this time, thank you for applying. If you did not see the notification in time this time, try to follow both my Facebook and my Twitter. Facebook has this annoying feature where it doesn't actually tell everyone who's liked my page when a status update comes out. You'd have to visit my page, which is very weird and very frustrating. So yes, I would suggest Twitter if you're just on my Facebook page, because Twitter sends it to everyone. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. This has been my subscriber base review. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have not subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It is a subscriber base review video after all, so you probably should be a subscriber. Beyond that, guys, if you are already a subscriber, please do like and comment below. I always do want to hear what Town Hall I should do next. 7 was absolutely the most requested one in the last video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Clash on.